Here's Candace Owens to say things that even Alex Jones thinks are absurd.
Today's going to be a very interesting episode, definitely philosophical, meta, because I don't think I will ever get over the fact that Charlie Kirk knew that he was going to die young. And I am starting to believe that so did the agents that surrounded him throughout his entire life.
Are these agents in the room with us now, Candace?
The first thing that I want to remind you guys is exactly what I said at the top of the show. It is an absolute fact that Charlie Kirk thought that he was a time traveler. He told me he was a time traveler repeatedly. I showed you guys that text message exchange. I said to him in response that I didn't feel the same way and that I thought I was from another planet, that I was an alien my entire life. Just do not get it here.
When you have thoughts like this, do you ever ask yourself if maybe you might be deluding yourself? What's more probable, that you're an alien and Charlie was a time traveler, or that both of you have overactive imaginations? What's more common, time travelers and aliens living on Earth, or people having silly beliefs?
Charlie wanted to go to West Point and then instead started Turning Point USA when he was 18 years old.
You make it sound like he just changed his mind about West Point. He was rejected from West Point, because he's so gifted and all.
He may have been marked since he was a child. We've discussed these GATE programs that they have in school. And I just think on the basis of what he told me, that when he was really young, they wanted to drug him, but his mother said no, and he was really grateful for that. And instead, they decided that they could send him to this X-Men school. That's the best way I can describe it. I would certainly, by the way, for you internet sleuths, I'd like to find out which school Charlie had to attend.
It was the Charles Xavier School for Grifting Fraudsters.
So he was pulled out of the regular school he was attending, and he had to go to some special school for the gifted, like he was an X-Man.
What were his mutant powers?
And I am of the opinion, it's an opinion, I'm allowed to have it, it's obviously not a fact, but I am of the opinion, based on the discussions I had with him, that he's been monitored since. That his test scores, whatever the score, every test they probably did on him, he was off the charts, and they wanted to make sure that he was being watched. That's my theory in general.
That's not what X-Men School is for. Mutants don't get sent there so the deep state can keep an eye on them. That's what Sentinels are for.
On all kids that are in extraordinary and GATE-type programs, maybe we should be training our kids to get like an 85% on the test. At most, before the government agents are going to swoop in and go, who is this genius child,
So don't let your kids get grades that are too high, because the government will put them in X-Men School.
And a lot of weird things used to happen to Charlie. He would go on runs. I think I told you guys this, after sundown. And when he was running, streetlights would go out. It was like he was in a burst of energy, like he was a lightning bolt or something. So
why would that cause streetlights to go out? Was that his mutant power? He could make streetlights go out?
To slow this down for you, there are, just in general, all of these inexplicable experiences that we have in life, and they try to make it weird for us to discuss them. Like just even being philosophical and thinking about these things for a long time, they don't want that.
Who are they? I would prefer you put a little more thought into them. It would be great if you could read some peer-reviewed papers about them too.
Deja vu is probably chief among them. We all have experienced deja vu. We are certain something happened, but we already did that.
And scientists have done lots of research into it. I recommend you read some of it.
But it didn't actually happen. You're like, but I feel like it did. Oof, I just got a bad case of deja vu. Well, guess what? There's no official expert explanation for that.
There's no single conclusive explanation, but there are a few possible explanations for which there is evidence, and they're all more plausible than woo.
Sleep paralysis, for those of us who suffer that. I had some terrifying experiences before I knew what it was. They don't really give us a full explanation for that.
Your brain partially disconnects from your body when you go to sleep. The mechanism by which this happens is a bit faulty, which is why you get sleepwalkers. That's the consequence of your brain not disconnecting enough. Another consequence is sleep paralysis, which is when your body stays disconnected for a while, even when you're awake. I suspect Candace would say this is not a full explanation. To her, a full explanation would have to involve some variety of woo.
Similar, also, another example of things that are inexplicable and maybe somehow related to deja vu. The story of how I met my husband. I've told it many times, how I got engaged 18 days later. No one believes me. They don't want to accept it, except maybe Charlie Kirk, because he was there for it. But I already knew George. That's how I describe it. I saw his face. I know that doesn't make sense, but it happened that way. I looked at my husband's face and I already knew him. It was like a sigh of relief.
Well, clearly, Candace, you must be psychic. Maybe you should have gone to the X-Men school.
And there's other explicable events and things like Charlie telling me that he was going to die young.
Lots of people say that kind of thing all the time. It's not convincing evidence of psychic powers that some of them turn out to be right.
Anyway, today we are going to be showing you clips from a YouTube channel called Be Inspired. We're going to link it in the comments as well because they did such a fantastic job of diving into these phenomena and how they likely relate to another shady government CIA program, which came to be known as Project Looking Glass. This actually happened. These were whistleblowers that came out, like with all of these projects, people that are in the military, scientists coming out and saying, hey, government has this technology and they can peer into the future. I'm sorry, what? What does that mean?
It means you're spreading horse shit, Candace. It's hard to tell with her whether she really believes this stuff or if she's rage bait grifting or if she's aiming to grift the lowest hanging fruit. Sometimes people running scams will intentionally make them as stupid and obvious as possible to weed out the folks that can only be grifted for so long before they get wise to the con. Is that what Candace is doing? I'm just asking questions. To everyone who helps me out on Patreon, you're a big help. Thanks so much.